take it away, Brian Zane from Wrestling with Regret. You're watching Putting You Over.
Ooh. Good evening, beautiful people. Oh, look at that. My mic is working. Phenomenal. Look at this. We're all ready to roll.
We're always ready, man.
Showtime. Well, first of all, thanks for giving me your time tonight, both of you. Busy.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, no problem. Is it Lilith and Alexander, or am I going with shoot names tonight?
Man, whichever you prefer.
I prefer Lilith and Alexander.
Let's go with that.
Personally. And we're going to get to your wrestling, how you got here, because your journey, it's interesting because you guys traveled the world before even jumping into this wrestling universe, I guess. Take me on that journey with you. Where does it start? Loaded question, yeah.
It is.
Yeah. I mean, we've been doing hair collectively for about, I would say 29 years.
Mm-hmm.
About, yeah. So with us, it all started really when it comes with traveling with hair, there's so many different ways that it can go. Obviously there's behind the scenes, there's runway shows or all that fun stuff, but we were lucky enough to do it with education. So we got to travel all over the States and educate during hair, whether it was a class, a seminar, a hair show. We actually got sought out by a company from London.
Nice.
And we were flown to Salon International, which is the biggest salon show that's, international.
Yeah.
And we're the first two Americans to main stage at their show.
Wow.
Ever,
yeah. So that was really cool. But we've also traveled and taught in Ireland. I've taught in Montreal, and then I've also did a barber expo in Russia.
That is insane to me.
Yeah. We never thought that doing hair would, get us to travel the world, and we were lucky enough to be able to.
Right. And so Alexander, you're from Puerto Rico, I believe. You moved here probably sixth grade is. I'm trying to think. My daughter, she's 12.
Yeah. So I moved. Yeah, my mother and I moved from Puerto Rico to Florida when I was 11. So that's why there's not much of an accent going on.
He tried really hard to get away from the crazy accent.
Yeah, I mean, I watched even in Puerto Rico, I watched a lot of American TV. I mean, 8th grade, I was watching Disney Channel, and Brink was like the best movie ever. And my friends and I were trying to do the whole inline skating thing in this small town and a small island. So yeah,
I read you were a competitive speed skater.
I was, yeah. In 8th grade, I was a competitive speed skater, and I actually won 3rd in my class. And the interesting part about it is, again, I grew up with my mother, and when I lived in Puerto Rico with my mother, myself, and my 2 older brothers. So she didn't really have the money to buy us the super expensive anything. So while all these other kids had these fancy 5-wheel skates, which are what you use for competitive skating, I was just rocking some rollerblades from like Walmart. Or not even Walmart. I don't even know what store we had because I was
smaller.
Yeah, it was a much smaller version of Walmart. Yeah.
Like a Wish version of the
skating. Exactly. Yeah.
And you, Lilith, before you hit wrestling, and you're still. I watched some of your stuff today. So the fact that you're into dancing, theater, and the arts, that shows in your managerial, just the overall aesthetics and performance. And we're going to get to that, to you guys' characters. But so how does your journey go from that to cosmetology? I think I said that right. I did.
Yes,
correct.
You did.
To then wrestling.
So I started as a child actress, actor, however they want us to be perceived these days.
Yeah,
and went out to LA and actually had an agent out there and was going for a few big parts on the Disney Channel, and then ended up finding the hair and makeup area and talking with them. And that's kind of what led me to hair, was that I found out like, oh, I can still be in the industry even if I don't make it full-fledged as an actress.
Right.
I can still be in it. And in turn fell in love with color, which is what I'm known for in the hair world. And throughout all that time, I still maintained my acting career. You know, it became more of a hobbyist type situation. And once we met and realized that wrestling was our next big venture, because we kind of accomplished everything we wanted to do in hair, I realized I could not only train to wrestle, but use the acting background as the manager side, because that's where I wanted to go in the wrestling career. I'm not a main ring person. I like the camera, I like the mic, I like that area more than getting hurt.
She likes the less violent, more creative aspect of wrestling.
I think I said not too long ago on here that we do need more managers, old school, like back in the day, valets, just someone to carry the mic and carry the performance. And you definitely do that. Before I jump into wrestling, you said color, and you got a color award in 2019. I've been shaving my head since I'm 12, so I don't know. So you just mean like literally like dyeing your hair? Like, what does color mean?
So in our world, when we're saying a color specialist, you're an actual artist. I mean, what he does is art as well, the fading techniques and everything. But with the color world, it is quite literally you're using someone's head as a canvas.
Oh.
So I was known for rainbow hair color and vivid hair color is what most people, and that was what I was nominated for, was a vivid hair color that I did. And actually he did the cut on it as well. So it emphasized the color even more than just putting black on your hair and calling it a day.
Yeah. So I was scrolling through your guys' Instagrams, and I think now that I think about it, I think I did see color aspects, like painting almost.
Yes.
So that's interesting. I saw a bunch of the fades in the hair, and I was like, wow, that is an art that I have no idea about. I shit you not, I can't. I grow a big beard sometimes, and I want to like shave it down nice and make it look good, and I screw it up all the time, and then I just shave it all off with the clippers and just start over.
That's what they're barber for. So you just gotta make friends with a barber.
I know. I gotta find someone to hook me up for sure. Where was I? Oh, I'm thinking I'm watching Impact at the same time and just saw Trey Miguel.
He's one of our best friends. I just wrestled him on June 12th. That match will actually be released on the Hybrid School of Wrestling YouTube on the 1st.
I think I got those links up there. I noticed that. And then I went into okay, let's get into the wrestling. We'll start with the Hybrid School. I'm not very good at transitions. So I looked up the Hybrid School. I saw you. I went right to the YouTube. I looked up the Cult of Crowley. I started getting nervous that I was joining a cult tonight, and I wasn't quite sure how I felt about that. But I'm okay with it now. I've come to grips with it. So for the people out there and the people that will see this, what is the Cult of Crowley?
And that's such an interesting question, because we haven't had a lot of people ask such question. I think you might be the second person that asked, and to us, it's just a collaboration of minds. Essentially, we kind of came up with the concept, and my tag partner Casey Blackrose, before he became Casey Blackrose, he was kind of unsure of who he wanted to be and what he wanted to do in the wrestling world, and we just became super close over the last year and started throwing ideas around. And we were like, well, why don't we do a segment in one of our debut promos where you become a member? And we started kind of throwing ideas around, and that's where, if you watched one of the very early promos that Kristen did, you see her blow dust in his eyes, and he kind of becomes subservient to us, and that's why he wrestles with white contact.
Interesting.
It was like she kind of blinded him in one eye and took over his mind. So that's kind of how it kind of came about. And so when people ask us, like, who are the cult? Like, to us, the Cult of Crowley is not only us and Casey, but it's all the fans. Like, anybody that supports us, any fans that come and cheer for us at shows, like, they're part of the family of Crowley, you know, the House of Crowley or the Cult of Crowley. We've had so many people call it different names.
Right.
Obviously, the Cult of Crowley is the
actual
name. So that's really the way that I personally describe it. It's a collection of us as the performers, and then our fans and our supporters, and, you know, just anybody that comes out with a sign
to join.
Yeah, exactly.
How can I join?
Well, I mean, you kind of already are.
Excellent.
That's it. We did this.
There. Look at that. See how easy that was?
And you're now one of us.
I am now. Yes, I'm Crowley. I feel like The Walking Dead and Negan. So I am Crowley. I am.
There you
Yes.
go.
I'm Crowley. Your guys' entrance, as I said, I was mesmerized earlier when I was watching it. Your entrance, your gear, your music, it all blends together into one beautiful picture.
Thank you.
You guys are the creative forces behind that, correct?
Everything but the music.
Okay.
Well,
So yes,
part?
but our voices are in the music.
Not on this one.
Not on this one?
No.
Darn it.
No. Actually, no, it is. Our voices are in this one. Do you want to?
Oh, no.
No. Okay. So when it comes to our entrance, especially our gear, we make all our own gear.
Nice.
We've been fortunate enough to make some really good friends, and we've made gear for Cross. We've made gear for O'Shea from Ring of Honor.
Okay.
Alex, who is now known as he was Alex. Why am I blanking on his name? Oh shit.
We're gonna get in trouble.
Yeah,
we'll edit that part right out. No one will know.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Hold on, I gotta pull it up because go ahead.
But our entrance, of course, you know, is on my end. It's selling the darkness coming.
Yes.
You know, it's creating this energy of the room, which, along with our music, which was done by Orlando, who's a good friend of ours. He created the actual song and wrote it, and then it was vocalized by Steve, who is the vocalist for Within the Ruins, which is a pretty gnarly metal band. And once he did the vocals, it's now gotten even darker.
I found him. Alex Zane.
Alex Zane. Yes, Alex Zane. What's his name? His other name? Airy something.
Airy Sterling.
Yes.
Yeah, that's it.
It's a very distinct name, so it's a little harder to remember off the top. But yes, as she said, we had one of our really good friends, Orlando, did the original song, and we just felt like we wanted to tweak it in something kind of just needed something a little bit heavier and a little bit more. So we re-recorded the vocals with our friend Steve from Within the Ruins and his producer Fern, who both incredible artists. So we just debuted that on Saturday at our last show. And it has a vocal drop right when I come on, and it's just gnarly as hell.
It's an entrance song that you want to have on your iTunes.
Yes.
It's one of those.
Yeah, something to rock out to. It's on Spotify. Is it on Spotify?
No.
Should be. How important is it? How vital is it for your wrestling characters and to have that type of freedom to be creative in all aspects?
Oh, it's incredibly important.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people have an idea of where they want to go. They may not be able to put it all out at once, but I do think a lot more wrestlers are trying to bring back the theatrics, bring back the storylines, which is what we are keen on, is making sure that we bring a storyline to any promotion we work with.
I agree. I think that's there indie wrestling right now is so massive. Like
Yeah.
AEW has put indie wrestling on the map, and
Yeah.
so has Impact. I mean, all these great brands. So I think building storylines is so important, and there's still so many brands out there that's just kind of like, well, you're gonna wrestle this person and this person just because.
No backstory.
And when we did our debut at Hybrid, that was not what I wanted, or that's not what we wanted. We wanted to build a story. So we started with Lilith doing the two promos, and one where I attacked somebody, and that led to a storyline between him and I. And then when we brought in Casey,
it was another storyline
that built a tag team turmoil between us and Drew and Chip Garrison.
Yeah, it's the one I just watched too.
Yeah. So that's been really cool, is having that freedom to build our storylines. Because with me, and I'm sure with Lilith as well, when I put on my blackout contacts and I put my gear on and I go right through those, like that's me. Like I'm no longer shoot me. Like I am Alexander Crowley, and that's what you're gonna get. And I don't even, the minute I cross back through, that's when I kind of so to us being able to control, our narrative, I guess you could say, is very important. We have put so much time and so much effort into building these characters, building these personas, not just visually, but just every aspect of it, legal. There's so many legal things behind it as well that we've been working towards. So it's a lot of time, a lot of investment into these. So I think
having the freedom,
to us is the most important part of doing this.
Right. So if you went anywhere else, that'd be a good, pitch, I guess.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yes.
Hybrid School of Wrestling. That's in where? Texas?
Yes, it's in San Antonio, Texas.
San Antonio, Texas. And you guys have shows when? How often?
Monthly.
We have, every month we have what we call the hybrid experience.
Oh.
And it started off as, before we were able to kind of open up again, it started off as student versus student, or storyline of students versus students, or whatever it could be. And now that we're able to have a higher capacity of fans, now we're bringing in people like Trey Miguel. We've had Khan, the Alpha Team, Sledge.
Oh, great guy.
A ton of really amazing guys. I think the next show, we might have James Storm and Van de Griff from Vegas. So, I mean, it's one of those things, like these shows started off as student shows, and we've gotten such a crazy following with it that it's become just like any other brand.
Excellent. Locally. When I was never really into independent wrestling, I just, for one reason or another, it never caught on with me when I was growing up. I don't know, unless you count Ring of Honor. And then this pandemic hit, and I had to leave my job, so I had to be home all the time, homeschooling 2/3 of my children. And we picked up on this show, and we just started getting some more independent things. And you're right, it's massive. And then you got AEW Dark, you got people, they're giving shots to them, and then Impact and GCW and Ring of Honor, and it's just massive and expansive, and especially there in Texas, because you got Hybrid, you got New Texas Pro, I believe.
IP.
Yep. There's others that are slipping my mind right now. GSW.
There's a ton. I mean, there's probably, I would say, about 20 different brands
in Texas.
and it could be more. There's obviously like Reality of Wrestling, New
Yep.
Texas Pro, VIP, DFW, like all of those big brands that are really well known, but besides those, there's so many smaller brands as well that are either fairly new or have been building up slowly, kind of building storylines through the pandemic. And once everything kind of opened back up, they started throwing out all this fire.
Yeah.
Yes.
So hot. I wonder what it is about Texas. Well, I'm sure it's everywhere. I'm sure there are hotbeds. It would be my assumption.
Oh, yes.
I guess.
I would agree with you on that. I think Texas gets obsessed. And, you think about sports, period.
Yeah,
when
that's true.
it's football time, everyone's obsessed with football.
Yeah.
And then baseball, same thing. And I think with wrestling, and I'm not going to say it's an outsider sport, but it's for everybody else who doesn't care about football or basketball or baseball. It's a sport for them. And so they're like, hell yeah. And in Texas, that's like 90% of the people.
Yeah. And also there's no season. So it just keeps
it's
on
all
going
year.
and going and going.
It never ends, like soccer.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, we're working backwards here, so I'm going all the way back. So I'm gonna ask each of you, was wrestling on in the house when you were growing up? What was it about the aspect of wrestling that drew you in, especially at a young age?
I think to me, it was the fact that, I did grow up with two older brothers who were into sports and music and all these different things. And I never, in Puerto Rico, baseball is the football in Puerto Rico. The baseball is the big sport that everybody watches. And I never really got super into it. So I just kind of came across it randomly when I was about 5 or 6. And back then, at least, the wrestlers, they were very much like the Mexican wrestlers, where they wore masks and they were just these mysterious big ass dudes that would just beat the crap out of each other in front of 20, 30 people. So that was, first and foremost, that's really what caught my attention. And then as I got older, with me, it was guys like Vampiro, obviously, the Undertaker. I saw Juvie is coming back to wrestle. He's kind of getting ahead of steam again. And he was one of my favorites because he'd just come out and headbang and then get in there and just go all crazy.
He was definitely crazy.
So, and obviously like the Hardy Boys were such a big influence growing up as well. So I think to me, it was being able to say that I watched a sport, but like it not be baseball or football or any other sport that may be. I thought it was that, like you said, it was that sport that's for other people.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of what really drew me in.
Nice.
What drew me in was I moved to Texas in 98.
Okay.
And you came in and you're the new kid, and I actually had 2 guys on the school bus talking about Raw.
Yeah.
And I had no idea what they were talking about. And they were talking about Triple H did something in a match and China was there, and I was like, what are you guys talking about? And they looked at me like I was stupid, that I didn't know what Raw was. So my goal was that next day, like the next week, to watch this Raw. And I fell in love with Stone Cold.
Yeah.
Fell in love with Stone Cold and just the theatrics. I think it was at that time, oh gosh, who was it? It was a storyline with Stephanie and The Undertaker.
Oh.
And it was one of the many.
Yeah.
Where he kidnaps her. And I was so enthralled with this, or he married her. It was one of those storylines that got me. And it was a soap opera that they beat people up.
Violent.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
So I was hooked, like the acting side for me, I was hooked immediately. And it was a way for me and my dad to kind of watch a sport together when he thought I was just nuts because he had no idea what was going on.
Yeah. I have 3 daughters, and that's what I try to get them to do. Watch wrestling with dad. It works.
Yes.
It works occasionally. But when I relate their gymnastics to the wrestling, especially with the women, all the wrestlers, but they like to watch the women, and they're in gymnastics. When I can bridge those 2 together, that's when they get excited to watch it. So
have them watch a bunch of Ricochet.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that would be perfect. I prefer Prince Puma personally.
Yeah.
Myself, I
Yeah.
can pull up some Lucha Underground. Maybe they
There
would
you
enjoy
go.
that.
I used to love Lucha Underground.
Yeah, me too. Very theatrical.
Very.
Yes. Those storylines.
They were nuts.
Those are not kid friendly. Some of those storylines.
No, they are not.
No, not at all. And I do remember that Austin Taker, McMahon angle. That's when Stephanie was fairly younger at the time.
Mhm.
They did kidnap her. Taker was going to marry her. It ended up being a higher power, and Vince. Oh boy, that was some.
It was good.
That was some
It was
intense stuff for sure. Oh man. So you guys are at Hybrid. Who are the trainers there?
Our main trainer is Chris Marvel,
Okay.
and he owns the school. And then we've got Sho Funaki.
Oh,
He's one of our trainers
classic.
as well. Yeah. And then we've got Mark Aguilar, and he's more of our fitness trainer. So he's the one that we do cardio with. He's the one that helps the newer guys with nutrition and lifting. But yeah, the main guy we train with is Chris Marvel. Funaki's got his own ring where he teaches a lot of like footwork, really just to get everything down
smooth.
And then you get transitioned into the main ring, which is where I essentially, like me and a few other graduates, coach the guys that get put into our ring. And then we've got Brandon, and he's the one that he gets the new guy. So our school's a little bit different in the sense that when you get in, you do depending on how quickly you move up, you start it with cardio. So it's usually about 3 to 6 weeks worth of just cardio. That's all you're doing. And then from there, you move on to the beginner ring, where you learn all your roles, all the basics that you need to know and be comfortable with before you move on to Funaki. So it's kind of like college,
right, like
you've got your 4 terms, and then you graduate, and then you're still there training, and that's when you're able to book. Once they give you the okay, they're like, okay, you're ready, start booking outside.
Interesting. So so you get greenlit and then book outside, and that's youtube.com Hybrid School of Wrestling with the Hybrid Experience. So first of all, it's a phenomenal name for a show.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, I like it a lot. I don't like asking the question of where do you guys want to go sign with, that type of gimmick. You probably have heard that, but like, what are the goals like for the Cult of Crowley?
Honestly, with us, we're just open. Again, it always goes back to that first, to that first main of how important it is for us to be able to keep what we've built. Yeah. So, we'll go wherever we can as long as we're able to still control our name, our look, where nobody tries to tell us what to do with it. So again, we're open to us specifically. Like, we would love to be at Impact because, again, Trey is one of our closest friends, and we would not be mad with seeing him every month or as often as we can. Right now, we see him about once a year. They surprised me last year during lockdown. Kristen flew him down. For my birthday. What?
Lilith.
No, sorry. She flew him down for my birthday.
You're in trouble now.
Yeah, I know, right? She flew him down for my birthday, and that was really cool. And at the time, I was still not wrestling. I was still training.
Okay.
So this year around, we planned on going up so we could train with him and hang out in Toledo and just, like, we've never been. So we're like, it'd be cool to go check it out. And for like months, I was like, hey, like, we need to plan this because I want to go down. I want to go up like during my birthday month because shit's getting expensive. And I just didn't hear back. And then finally, like, the show before the show with Trey, they were like, oh, like, look who we're bringing down. And that's when they showed me the flyer for Trey Day.
Nice.
And I was like, oh, that's awesome. And they're like, yeah, you need to get ready because you're going to wrestle him. And I was like, oh
shit.
damn. Yeah. So that was honestly by far has been my favorite match because the communication was so good, and he is just on a whole other playing field. Like he's so creative. When you get a chance to watch the match, like he gave me some really cool transition moves, and I think the coolest part with it was he went over, which he was supposed to, but he didn't want to bring my character down, so he had us go over, or he went over with a disqualification. So that was really cool, and that was all on him.
Yeah,
like it meant so much to us because he still was strong, and we stayed strong, and that was just really cool.
But to go back to your question, Impact is probably where we'd want to end up. Maybe AEW.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, I could see the Cult of Crowley on like a episode, like start off, like you said, almost like a school at college. Start off on a dart or an elevation, go cause some chaos there. Maybe you can get that monster Abaddon, blow some dust in her face, get a whole faction.
That would be fantastic.
Could you imagine that? Oof.
It is one of those things, though. Again, it's
as long as they let us keep what we have going on, we'll go wherever people want us to go.
Yeah, and I think that's what you guys want, and I think it you can see it. You can see how it works and how much you guys are into it when you watch it on YouTube. When I was watching it today, you can tell.
Thank you.
It's great stuff. It's phenomenal stuff. I feel comfortable now being a part of this cult, this family, this house.
You're in good hands.
We're in good. I do. I feel I feel good. I didn't have to drink any Kool-Aid. Last time we had a Dark Order. What's his name? Silver on here. He made me drink. He made me drink Kool-Aid. Be part of the Dark Order. So I'm not quite sure what I'm getting involved in.
Hopefully, there's no conflict of interest in different groups. I think you can be in as many as you want.
I think I can. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're nearing the end of the show, and what I always do at the end is I'm going to give you guys the mic, and you can put over anything you want. You can say anything you want. We posted some of your guys' links in the channel, but feel free to let us know, because I will push this out audio-wise too, so they won't have this chat. But it doesn't matter. The floor is yours. I will not interrupt. It's tough, right?
Horrible at being put on the spot.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, we'd like to thank like our coaches, like Chris Marvel, Funaki, Hybrid School of Wrestling, for just letting us run with the idea of the cult. It was so much hard work put into it from us, and having somebody like Marvel let us run with it really meant a lot to us. And obviously, our friends and family and
all the fans.
Yeah,
we
all
love
the fans.
We love everyone who comes out, even when we're not supposed to talk to you, we will.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Is there?
We have a few shows coming up. We have our first in Oklahoma show coming up on August 27th.
Yeah, and that's actually where she's originally from.
I'm from Oklahoma, so this is going to be like my home state.
There you go.
Coming in.
Yeah, so we're really excited for that. There's some other stuff possibly coming up, but I just can't really.
We can't discuss it just yet.
Yeah, not yet.
Also, we really love Crowley's Gonna Kill You chants.
Yeah.
If you want to throw those anywhere.
Yeah, at shows. Yeah, that's always good.
Or in public.
Yeah, or just randomly while walking into a store.
Just be careful.
Yeah. And then obviously our socials, our Instagram, mine is a.crowley with 2 Y's and an underscore at the end. Yours.
Instagram is I am the Lilith.
And then my Twitter is the same as my Instagram, but without the period. So it's a.crowley, 2 Y's underscore.
I got you, Lilith. Your Instagram is the only Lilith.
Thank you. I said Twitter.
Yeah, her Twitter is the other one.
Yes, your Twitter is I am the Lilith.
Yeah, she gets them confused.
I do. I'm terrible at social media.
Yeah, we're good on Instagram. Twitter is what we're trying to get into, because we know that Twitter is the wrestling community. And I don't got that much to say. So.
It does. Twitter definitely, you got your internet wrestling community, and people get stuff out there on Twitter. But I'll tell you, I did go to your guys' Instagram, and you can see the hard work, like you talked about, it's an art. What you guys do with the gear, with the looks, just you can see it. It's an art. Not only your wrestling, but you know, your hair, your color, your barber. I don't know the correct terms. You're fading.
You're doing great.
Yeah.
Doing the best I can. But it's been a pleasure to have you guys on, and doors
Thank
always
you so
open.
much.
You can come back anytime you want. Yeah. Have a great night. Thanks for giving us your time.
All right, man.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much.
Yeah.
Have a good night.
Peace. You too.
Bye.
Right. Great stuff.